So usually I would just wait until the end, and I would review. I just review the books without showing these off. Now this is like really much. This is very much so. That was what I was looking for. This is very much so a post-credit scene comic, show off. Like so. So if you guys been watching my come on. If you guys have been on my channel for about a month or two, you will notice I've been doing videos, 2 videos now, and counting, called post-credit comic reviews. Now, what I mean by that, well, I have 2 sets of books that I get from my library, at 2 different times, obviously. The first set is books that are written by writers such as Garth Ennis, or Brian Wood, or Jason Aaron, Stephanie Phillips. And all 4 of those writers have done, Paul Cornell, all 5 of those writers have done stuff for Image Comics. And that is the publisher that I am buying books from physically, with rare exceptions. At the very least, it's been Image books, like, I would say at the very least, it's been like 4 per month for the past 2 years. On average, I would say on average, I'd say it's 10 books per month from Image per month. For the last 2 years, nonstop, per month. And the reason why I pick Image over every other publisher, I really had no reason other than they have good pricing and good shit. I know Vault has good shit too, but Image I seem to have the best luck with overall, with writers. But anyways, so the timing over until the books that are the miscellaneous books, like Tom Taylor, who hasn't done anything for Image. What's a good example? I can't think of any. Christopher Cantwell, who hasn't done anything for Image. That is what I call the miscellaneous pile, where it's just all the books that I want to read, but they didn't do anything for Image. I put that in that pile and wait till next time to read those. While I wait for those books to come in, this is the pile I'll be reading. The reason why that is I don't want to go through like a 3-week period straight, or a 2-week period straight of not getting anything from my library. Yeah, I'm putting stuff in, but I don't like that kind of thing. I like constantly reading at least one book from was given to me from my local library. Thanks to my local library. So long intro over, and from my local library, intro or otherwise. But yeah, long intro out of the way. Let's get on with it. Now, the first one is actually a miscellaneous book because I had this for so long. I've had it since I was reading Dark Knights of Steel. That was the last time, last that they had, when it was Dark Knights of Steel and Monkey Prince. And that is Nothing Can Possibly Go Wrong. Why has it taken me so long to read? Well, first of all, it's a thick book. And second of all, I know you shouldn't judge a book based off its cover, and Heartstopper is a great example, a great recent example, but nothing screams read this now to me when I see this cover. So it's not just that, it's also because I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm trying to finish up those books and then the miscellaneous books, and just a lot of reading of the other books. I keep putting this aside and keep putting this aside, and just that's how it goes, unfortunately. But also fortunately, because I'm constantly reading, so that's something I like to do. So I'm even though I have a job, I'm also, when I'm not working, I'm doing what I love to keep me going, just keep me sane, basically. And if I have like a not so good day at work, then I can readjust, recharge my batteries, and do something I like, and then come back the next day and put up with it, whatever I have to put up with, basically. But moving on, so the next the next 2 are OGNs, but now we're into the full-fledged Image books. These guys have done stuff for Image that I own, and that's what we're doing. The Image. So I'm gonna do this right now. So I don't have to keep saying that. I'm gonna do from now on. This is the last time I'm gonna mention this. This whole this pile is right. So this pile is, and that's what that pile is. I'll just say what they are before I go into them. So first up, we have the Image Guys and Gals pile. Those are books like Rebels by Brian Wood, Preacher by Garth Ennis, and so on and so forth. Now, each and every one of those authors has done something for Image, a good amount for Image, at least one full-fledged graphic novel for Image, So celebrate I see my library has for those authors for other publishers. Then it's Miscellaneous Pile, which is like Dark Knights of Steel and Monkey Prince, written by authors who done nothing for Image. So now we're on to the Image Guys and Gals pile. And it's all what this is. One exception technically, but you'll see when we get to it. I'll tell you when we get to it. So first up we have Night Eaters, written by Marjorie Leo and Sam Takeda, the same exact creative team behind Monstrous. Now this is a reread, some of you guys will notice that, but so why did I reread books? Well, first and foremost, books like this where I don't remember what happened in the first volume, so before I read the second volume, I'll be reading the first volume to re-jigger my memory. That's why I do that. One of the reasons, at least. The second reason is maybe I didn't like the book. Give me a second chance. A good example for that is Sandman. I didn't really like that first time I read it, but each time I read it, I like it more and more. So that's why I do that. But like slightly more and more. I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I actually like every volume of Sandman. I think I'll always. Actually, I think we're at the point now where I won't change my mind about any volume. I still will hate volume 5, but still will really like volumes 5 and 7. And it goes to the best. My all-time best is the Thessaly story line with Barbie and no, it wasn't Barbie. I think it was Barbie. And Wanda. That was my favorite. That was absolutely fantastic. That was like everything I want from Sandman and love about Sandman all rolled into one volume. Anyways, on to the next OGN, and this one I'm actually reading for the first time, like all in one. The next one up is another OGN, and this one I'll be reading for the first time, and that is Tom King's Batman: One Bad Day, The Riddler. Tom King, by the way, he did Love Everlasting for Image. Probably know that. Cause I feel like some of you guys don't know. You may not know. I'm not going to mention what every author has done for Image, obviously, but we'd be here all night if I did that. Jane Foster, Valkyrie by Jason Aaron. Now, this one is a good example of I didn't like it a whole lot the first time, and so far, I like it a lot better the second time around. I gave it a second chance, I'm glad I did. The other one is I liked it so much that I want to read it again, and that is the case with Devil's Red Bride. Now, this one, I do remember liking it. I do remember that this is written by Sebastian Gerner, by the way. And what I remember about this book is, again, I really liked it. And secondly, that this was Sebastian Gerner did a series called Scales and Scoundrels, and that is kid-friendly. It's all ages, rated E for everyone. This is definitely rated M for mature. A lot of violence, a lot of language. Good, at the very least, a good amount of language and violence. So it's very jarring to see that, because I've not read Shirtless Bearfitter yet, and even then it's co-written by Jody Houser. Not Jody Houser. Jody LeCube. But yeah, Devil's Red Bride. Then we have the ultimate example of a reread that I liked so much I want to read it again, and that is I Walk with Monsters. This was my pick of the week by far when I checked this book out from the library. And I believe I read this around the same time that I read Sebastian Gerner's Devil's Red Bride. Now this is written by Paul Cornell. It may be the same publisher, but different writer. This is written by Paul Cornell. Now we have the next 1, 2, 3, 4 will be from my personal collection. They're all books from Image. So to kind of like complete it as to make it come full circle, I like to add at least one book for my personal collection that's published by Image Comics to make the whole Image Guys and Gals come full circle. And now this time I'm doing a bunch, actually, because if you count overall, I'm doing a bunch. And this is New Masters by written by Shobo. It's just Shobo. There's no first name, last name. It's just Shobo. Well, it's his first name, but and I guess last name. I don't know why I don't give a last name. Now this one you probably saw like not too long ago. Like I can remember exactly where I was when I picked it. I don't remember exactly where I was, but it wasn't that long ago that I picked this one up. Like I was still working at the school. That's how and I've only been working since ever since August, and this was like well into my career, quote unquote. Um, but I don't remember a whole lot from this book. Not in a bad way. In a so much happens that I need to rejigger my memory kind of way. I'm very careful how I say that word. But that's why I'm rereading this one. And I would say I liked it enough, you know. Obviously, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be bothering with it. But it wasn't a crowd pleaser. I wasn't like super blown away by this. But I also was rarely ever bored with remasters. It was at the very least unique. And then I just realized to put that there. No, I put it here. So I realized that if I want to get this series finished by the end of this month, I kind of have to read it back to back to back to back, like 4 volumes in a row, and that is Black Science. I think because I just realized that it's already December, and I was like, oh, because I'm still finishing off volume 7. I should have finished that after. I should have finished that before November ended. I didn't, and that's the reason why we're doing back to back to back to back review of back to back of Black Science. But as of now, this is the last 2 volumes I'll have to read for Black Science. So pretty soon here, I'll be done with Black Science for good. It's crazy to think about. Now, I will say one thing. I'll probably be rereading the series come March, and not because I really liked it. I mean, not just because I really like it, but also because there's a lot that happens. This, I would say, is the Wicked and the Divine of sci-fi independent books. Wicked and the Divine is one of those books that I wouldn't say it's confusing. There's just a lot going on because the world is so expansive, and they keep building its world in a good way, and they keep expanding its lore and all that shit. So, of course, you're going to miss some details here and there. Especially if you're like me, and you learn by repetition, and even though you're paying attention while you're reading the book, there are still going to be some things that you miss or forget about when you're reading the next volume from the previous volume. And that's how it is, especially with Black Science for me. Something like Batgirl by Gail Simone, I never have that feeling of what happened last volume because of how Batgirl is written. Batgirl is written very, and I don't mean this as an insult because I really love Gail Simone's Batgirl, but it's written very consistently and concisely. You know, it's how your average comic book is written, but in a good way. It's above average, I should say. I should have added that. But anyways, last 2 volumes of Black Science, written by Rick Remender. And then we have the other. So, obviously, as of Black Science, we are getting onto ones that I'm reading for the first time, and that is also the case with Golden Rage, written by Chrissy Williams. The best part about reading the books that are in my personal collection is when I really, really, really love them, and they're like, oh my god, it's so good, and it's like a page turner, and it's like a surprise, and it breaks new ground, in my opinion. I own them. I can read them whenever I want to, again and again and again. Whenever I want to. I don't have to wait. Unless I'm not home when I want to read it again. Like I'm away on vacation or something like that, and then I bring it with me. But other than, like, 9 times out of 10, I can just go right home, right to my room, pick up the book, and then read it right then and there. If I so desire to. So this is the technicality. So now we're back to books in the library. But now we're on to the technicalities there, because this, well, they do have a story by Paul Cornell and Henry Barajas, both guys who have done stuff for Image. You also have stories written by Mark Russell and Alex Segura, who I don't think either have done anything for Image. I'm almost positive they have done anything for Image. Now, I can't tell, let's see if I can tell now, if this is a OGN or not. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to look a bit closer, that's why I'm not. I can't tell. It's not saying, like, oh, previously collected in the series 1 through 6. I swear to God it did say it, but I'm not sure. And it's not like it's, because it's not like the whole entire issue is written by one guy, right? 117, 118. No. That's not how it goes. Very weird. But, Project Cryptid. Anthology book. Looks to be sci-fi. Definitely sci-fi. So a sci-fi anthology. Now the final two books. I'm not gonna put that one in there. The final two books are ones my library had in their local library. This is what's called a materials request. And if there's no library in the state of where I live in New Hampshire that has what I'm looking for, they'll do something called a materials. I can do something called a materials request, where so long as they think that more than just me will read it, and it was released in this past year, they'll get it for me. And that is the case with these last two books. First up, we have Beware the Planet of the Apes, written by Mark Guggenheim. Now, I am not 100% sure if this is a direct sequel to the previous Marvel Planet of the Apes book, which was, I forget what it was, but it was written by David F. Walker. I don't know if it's a direct sequel or not. I'm gonna assume it's not, but it was not that long ago that I read the David F. Walker series, so I'm sure I'll refresh my memory. But if this is half as good as David F. Walker's Planet of the Apes is, then I'll very recommend. And finally, last but not least, is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Finally. This took a long time for them to process. Now, I'm always super patient with this. I'm usually very impatient, but I know that it takes a while for them to process books. And I would never ever say, oh, it's taking too long. No, obviously not. I know what they have to do to process it, and it's probably more than I think it is, even at that. I know it's going to take a while. And I just know in general, because I've done this a lot. Like, I've been doing materials requests at least all year. So I get it. Actually, for a whole year, because Wonder Girl was back in December. I read it for the first time last December. I read Wonder Girl for the first time. And I want to say that was the first one I did. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's the first one I did. It's been at least a year. So I am well aware of how long it will take for the materials request books to come in. The only thing I don't like is that sometimes they'll come in at an inopportune time. But this one didn't. And this is and also it's written by Brian Buccellato. But that, as they say, is that. A lot I'll be reading. A lot I'll be reading starting on Monday. So that is that. You'll see the books. So the reason why I'm doing this before I do my comic review is I didn't like that I only had one video uploaded this week, and it was on a Monday. I was like, you know what? Let's break the rule. Let's do this little videos, little post-credit scene. But I have not yet finished. You know what I'll do? I'll show what I haven't finished yet. So I have not finished Preacher. It's a reread anyways, but I still haven't finished Preacher. My most recent reread of Preacher anyways. Rebels. Volume 2 of Man Among Ye. Volume 7 of Black Science. Final Crisis. Global Frequency. And Captain America Red, White, and Blue. So all those can be expected to be reviewed on Sunday evening. And if I decide to do it, the three OGNs being they saw earlier in this video. So that, as I say, is that. You guys can tell who I am influenced by, because I also say I've adopted his saying, if you will, of that essay is that. I'm not gonna say who it is. I want you guys to guess who it is. It's pretty obvious. That's who it is. Most of you guys come from his channel also. Have also subscribed to him also. I'll say that again. Most of you guys are subscribed to him also. Subscribed here. It's very hard to say that. All right, that's the end. I'll wait till 20 minutes. Yeah, I just wasted 40 minutes of my time, and I say 20 minutes. The first cut was awful. First cut I messed up a lot, and then I messed up a huge amount. And then I was like, you know what, let's do a second cut. Nothing that couldn't have been salvaged, obviously. Nothing that couldn't have been salvaged. However, I just was like, you know what, it's all around not the greatest video, not the greatest cut. Let's do a second cut. I have time. It's Friday, not Thursday. So, and I have school tomorrow. Well, school tomorrow, work tomorrow. I will forever say school. Like, I just think of it as school. It's not, because it's as a parent educator, I don't take tests or study, so that's good. But it is essentially school. I work at a school. I'm going to school, but as work, which is the ultimate thing I always wish for. So I got my wish in that regard. But anyways, that's it.